When you play the game of microphones, you win or you die. From within the House of Black and White, it's Sir Duncan and Lady Rachel.
Well met and welcome to Game of Microphones. I'm Lord Sterling, Sir Duncan the Fearsome, flanked to my left by my co-host, Archmaester Stitches from the Luminescent Citadel on the Siren Isle. What's going on?
It's the end.
It's the end. It's hard to believe, but it's actually here, huh?
It's over, man.
What an episode. What did you think? Do you like it?
I think I'm still shaking. Oh, man. I don't know. Oh, man, I'm speechless. It was really good. I mean, how else do you do something like that, really? I mean, tie up all those threads. Try not to feel fan service-y, but obviously not. I mean, I really thought it was going to be a really dark ending for a little bit, especially in the beginning of the episode. I'm like, man, they're about to go here.
Yeah, it got real dark.
This thing's about to end, because all I kept thinking is that saying you hear all the time, if you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
Yep, totally. That's so funny, man. Yeah.
But I enjoyed it.
I did too. I thought they managed to wrap things up and pull things together pretty well, surprisingly. And took different directions than I expected it to as well. As like the whole Bran the Broken thing. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, and I love how already in the Facebook chat, Bryson Wolf echoes my sentiments. I told that to my wife. I was like, Arya Columbus. Whenever she was setting sail, I was like, she's going to go discover the new fucking world, man.
Makes sense, awesome. Following in the footsteps of the first Nymeria, who she was a big fan of, who traveled west and landed in Dorne with a fleet of, like a couple hundred ships or something like that.
Yeah.
In the old days. That was pretty cool.
A few groups real quick. This new
sounds
feed.
good.
Let's see. Try to get some more people on the horn.
I got to pop up the Facebook chat too.
Alicia Stout says still processing. I completely sent them. I just it's so hard to take in, man. But I did, like, my wife's like, stop! Like, I just jumped off my couch when he impaled Dany. I was just like, yes!
Oh my god, dude!
So rewarding.
Roose Boltoned her, like the way Roose Bolton stabbed Robb, and the way that he got stabbed by Ramsay when, like, during an embrace.
Right, and then it was so great that he cradled her just like a Gret. Like, they had that same angle and everything on him. Like, I told my wife, I was like, third time's the charm.
Yeah, right.
The third one will work. Poor guy.
It was also remindful of that picture that I posted on GoM a while back with the creation of Lightbringer, where Jon is stabbing Dany with Longclaw and holding her. And it was like that same position with the sword going vertically down, except it was his dagger and not Longclaw. It, like, mirrored that post almost exactly. It was mind-blowing.
Yeah, I remember I was thinking about that too. I was like, oh, it's just like that whole cleansing the blade. But I was like, there's no way he's going to be able to pull out Long Claw without her noticing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he needed that shank, that stealth short blade. Oh, my God. That was crazy.
That was so good, though.
I love that conversation that he had with Tyrion leading up to that moment as well, where he asks him, would you have done it about burning the city? And obviously Jon wouldn't have, but like you said, he didn't want to say that and sound like he was betraying Dany, right? He's like, the answer. That was so funny.
Oh,
gotta love Tyrion, man.
Tyrion's arc was so well put. Hey, got a visitor down there.
Oh, what's up, man?
What is going on? Can you hear
Welcome to the show. Yes, we have Lord Zach of House Bruce joining us. Loud and clear, 5x5, brother. What'd you think? How'd you like the episode?
I really liked it a lot. It tied it was satisfying. It was everything kind of, all the loose ends pretty much got tied, except for who is Quaithe. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I was surprised. And it wasn't crazy, gut-wrenching like I thought it might be.
Yeah, not too bad.
I mean, there was a moment there for a second, I thought at the very beginning, like she was about to roast Tyrion in front of her people, like
I thought so
baptized traitors kind of thing by fire.
Oh man,
there was just so many moments that the show has just set you up to expect some shit like that to go down.
Totally. How about that scene, though, with Dany and her big speech? We see all the Unsullied lined up row by row, perfect uniform, and then the Dothraki chaos, and they're all cheering. And it looks up at this grand stairway. I don't remember this location. Do you guys remember where that is in King's Landing? Where she's giving that speech with the destroyed entryway with a giant Targaryen flag hanging down on the left. Massive flag.
Not from any other scenes I can think of right off the bat.
I didn't recognize it.
Because, the only other big platform we've ever seen like that was Septa Baelor, but that's gone.
Yeah. Long gone. Yeah, and that was more like, it had other buildings closer around it, too. Like, I have no idea where this was.
Is that where they beheaded Ned?
I don't
Because that was a big platform.
That was in front of Septa Baelor.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah, because Arya was by the statue.
I guess it's stage left. We just never seen it till now. It's the smaller stage since the main one got engulfed.
Yeah, I guess. That was crazy, though. What a set, and that giant Targaryen flag was just so cool. And then Jon is approaching, and he's all mad, and you see Arya in the background, and she's all mad, and Jon's walking up the Unsullied, and he gets to the top where you can just see over the top of the stairs, and Dany's approaching after having landed on Drogon. And we get this shot where it's her, but Drogon's wings extend out from behind her, big black wings.
Dany.
Oh, bad Dany. Yeah,
that's what that was another one of my little girl squeals went off. I was like, oh, that's epic. When that happened, too.
Totally epic.
I was like, I know I'm supposed to be cheering right now, but that was epic. And that flag, like you said, you could tell is like a sail. It looks like off of one of her ships.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
It doesn't look all pressed and proper like when they dropped the Winterfell banners.
Right, all the creases and
exactly. It just looks like, tack that sail off the ship up there. That's big enough to get the point across,
Yeah, totly. So
I would like to see I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to see the off scene that we didn't, like the meeting between Grey Worm and her, where, obviously he got the order to like kill these Lannister people, so they've talked, and some, the time frame's never linear and this kind of stuff, and like where we know what's going on. But I would have loved to see like an outtake of like how that went down, where they both went, "Do you see how well we did this? We sure did. We're awesome." Yeah. Fist bump.
Totally. That would have been crazy to see.
Because he was on fire, man. Like then his eyes when Jon grabbed his arm, it's like, I don't have no problem spearing you too, dude.
Dude, that was intense when Jon grabbed his arm and stopped him from trying to execute those soldiers, and Davos had to remind Jon, like, hey, you're about to commit treason here. Like, you might want to think about this for a couple seconds.
Yeah, and I'd say if we were like making a list, like top 3 or whatever, like one of my numbers would definitely be like the threads for if there was another season or like a future series, and one of them would be like that stare down right there, like, I still got your number, dude. Like
between Grey Worm and Jon,
yes,
like
Jon,
when he's riding off to Noth.
Yeah, and it's just like let's go protect the place I said I would. That was my
in honor of Sunday.
Exactly, my promise to her. But once we get that settled and taken care of, he might be resting one night and be like, you know what? I'm going back over there. I'm going to kill that fool.
Totally. So what sticks out to you, Lord Zach? What's on your mind about this episode?
Oh, man. I guess Drogon, and why didn't he burn Jon?
I guess he just knew he wasn't a threat. The way that I interpreted that was like he saw Jon cradling her and like knew that his heart was true. Like he's a Targaryen also, and he has this like connection with him. And I felt like he could tell his heart was true. And it was like in that moment, he recognized that it was really the throne that killed Dany and that like destroyed her. It was like it's her drive for that throne. And he just destroyed the throne as like out of anger, like that he knew it was that object that was Dany's downfall. In the end.
I also thought in that moment, like he was going to extend his neck and freaking Jon was going to mount that dragon afterwards.
I know, I thought so too.
Before you see the claws pick up Dany, there's like this second of like, oh my God, they pull back on the camera and I'm like, he's about to mount the freaking dragon. I mean, what better way to be like, nah, it's mine.
Yeah, and it's known, like it is known, you know, when a king Targaryen dies with a dragon, oftentimes their dragon will end up with a new rider if there's one worthy of the beast, basically like Balerion.
He's going to go drop her bodies in the fires of Valyria and she's going to walk back like the Stone Queen.
Yeah, how crazy is that? He like goes off to some like dragon Lazarus pit and like revives her.
I really
or something.
think that's where he took her though. It looked like that's what they were getting at. He's going to take her to old Valyria.
He seems like he has some kind of like connection with old Valyria, you know, so I felt like that would make sense.
Yeah, my wife we were sitting there talking. And I was like, you got to remember, we saw him flying in the background back when Jorah and Tyrion were in that boat going through there. You could see him flying. Yeah. So it's like he knows that place and he knows it well.
And that's where Dany's family comes from too. The blood of
bring her back
Valyria.
to an ancestral home. Ah, so good, man. Just so good. I enjoyed the shit out of this episode.
And we saw Jon reunited with Ghost, which made me happy.
What's really funny is he's been sharing all those memes, like Kit Harington. Like he's been sharing all the memes on his social profiles about like not hugging the dog.
Really?
You know, like in the back of his head. Yeah, in the back of his head, he's like, wait till they see the end.
Yeah, probably. I always see posts by Kit Harington, but I always think it's like that fake account, you know? So I never know which one is like his real account.
It probably is.
That's so funny though. Yeah, I mean, we're all complaining that he didn't nuzzle him or something, but they went up face to face this time and Ghost like nudged him and knocked him to the side, which was hilarious. Good to see those two old boys together again, you know, riding north at the end.
His dire wolf when he's king beyond the wall.
Yeah, Lord Johnny of House Storr had predicted that this is how it would end with Jon north beyond the wall with Ghost. And I was like, I was really skeptical of that because I just couldn't see anything that happy happening. You know what I mean? But I guess we got lucky and we got some, you know, that was pretty awesome. Like you said, King in the North. I feel like that was Bran's plan. Send him north. He'll end up king beyond the wall. And so now there's 3 Stark monarchs. There's Bran the Broken in the south, Sansa the Queen in the north, and Jon the King beyond the wall probably. That's crazy. Yeah.
God, it was so good. And you're right. I mean, Stark's got the stranglehold now on the whole continent.
Yeah, totally. What were you going to say, Zach?
But it is still a monarchy, but it's sort of like a representative republic chosen monarchy. Which I guess the high lords and ladies aren't really selected by the people. But
at least the 6 lower kingdoms are having some form of representative democracy.
Right. It's sort of representative. The people I don't guess get a direct vote in who their lord is, but the lord speaks for the people or represents them in the choosing of the monarch there at the dragon pit every time. He said, Bran, till, from this day to your last day. So it is, I guess, sort of a lifetime appointment. But it's a little bit more representative than what they had before with it being ancestral.
Yeah, it's still a kingship, but not a hereditary kingship. It's more like you're elevated to king by merit, at least according to certain people.
You could pretty much write into your local, instead of your local congressman or senator, you write into your local lord of your land to be like, this king next term needs to this is not going to work. Next time, don't do a Stark. Pass it on to your ancestors or your children. Now, I thought it was really cool too that they did that. They created something completely different because they bring up like what we have, chosen by the people, and everybody laughs at Sam.
Oh yeah, that was so funny.
They laugh at Edmure,
because when they laughed at Sam there. Sorry to cut you off there, but when they laughed at Sam there, I feel like that was like a bit of like meta commentary. Like Sam's like, well, the people could have a vote, and it's like too easy. Like that would be
exactly.
So everybody laughs, and it's like HBO laughing at us, like, haha, you thought we were really going to make it that easy? Like, so many of you suggested it, but it would just be so far too simplistic for it to happen that quickly.
Yeah, for there to be a parliament already, like that.
That was funny though. Brienne, I guess her father Selwyn is dead at this point for some reason, because she's like voting at the table. Yeah, and so that was cool. Brienne is now the Lord Commander of the King's Guard, and I paused the screen to look at what she'd written about Jaime, and she gave him good credit for his exploits, saying that he tricked the Unsullied into attacking Casterly Rock, sacrificing his childhood home for a more strategic victory, that he outwitted the Targaryen army at the loot train battle, basically the golden train battle, like they called it, or something like that, and managed to get all the gold back to King's Landing. And that she listed all this good stuff. Died or sacrificed his hand to do whatever to save some purpose. I can't remember what exactly it said at this moment, but she gave him good credit, even though he broke her heart and abandoned her at the end. And I thought it was really big of her to be telling it like it is.
Well, it shows you how important that bath scene still was to her from way back when, like him just at odds with the fact that he's never going to be seen as a good person. So
yeah, here it is. Took river run from the Tully rebels without loss of life. Impressive. Lured the Unsullied into attacking Casterly Rock, sacrificing his childhood home in service to a greater strategy. Outwitted the Targaryen forces to seize Highgarden. Fought at the Battle of the Gold Road bravely, narrowly escaping death by dragonfire. Pledged himself to the forces of men and rode north to aid in the battle at Winterfell, and died protecting his queen. So he got his page filled out with some noble deeds in the end, which I thought was good, considering that the last line before he had seen the book, the last time he saw the White Book, it was what was it? Forever forth known as the Kingslayer. It didn't have quite a good ring to it, so I was happy about that.
So I've already seen, when I was sharing some stuff earlier, people already saying something like Bran's evil, right? Like that he saw all this happening and now he's the king.
Yeah, I was thinking he just
like he knew Dany was gonna go crazy and all this shit.
Yeah, he's like, all I really have to do is sit back and let other people do stuff for me, and I'll be the king. You go there, do this. You're exactly where you need to be. Perfect. He's like, why do you think I came all this way? Like, oh my God, I couldn't believe that when that happened. So epic. Tyrion was fantastic in this episode as well. Peter Dinklage, his performances during that scene when he nominates Bran the Broken was amazing, and his demeanor and expressions. And oh man, I was really sad that there was this moment that was supposed to be really epic during that speech, where he's like, well, what unites people, right? And he said, a story, nothing like an amazing story to unite people. And he was talking about Bran, but for a moment there, it was supposed to be meta commentary about the awesome fan base and everything, and the love for Game of Thrones, that this fantastic story has united all these people, but I felt like that was tarnished by the fans and their like ungrateful reactions of the past few weeks to all the hard work that's been put into this show. I mean, they may not have made decisions that you wanted to see happen. They may not have executed things as well as you'd hoped for, but they didn't have material, and they worked a lot, really, really hard to give us what they gave us, and we should be thankful, I think.
And that, I mean, there's no way that George did not know this was going to go down to.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure if he was going to be sitting there with those guys and was just like, this is absolute garbage, what are y'all thinking? That they would be like, all right, well, let's workshop this a little bit then. I mean, we still got the books coming. If Dany doesn't go mad in those and something happens different, great. But as far as an end to this show, not from the source material, I like it. I mean,
yeah, me
they did
too.
a hell of a job. The last scene is right there north of the wall where the first scene opens up.
I know, full circle,
the trees
man.
And everything. So that's epic, man. I can't. I love it. I mean, I'm I'm super just sit back, kind of a little brokenhearted that there won't be an episode next Sunday or next 2 years or whenever the spinoff series starts. So, I mean, there's an emptiness from that. But as far as the story as a whole and not some personal side to it, I'm very pleased with everything. I love the fact that we got to see Bronn again. I was really getting nervous there until the end. Well, we're just not going to close his story up. He just walked out of Winterfell. We don't
Lord
see
of
him
Highgarden,
again.
Warden of the East. What are all his Lord of Lofty titles? Davos called him.
What was the grammar line he said?
Oh yeah. We know you're the master of grammar too. Dude, that was so good. I was so happy to see that he finally got his castle, man. That's all I wanted from the series. Mm-hmm. The Hound didn't make it, but at least Bronn got his castle.
Yeah, Tyrion even brings it up. He says, "Sir Bronn, do you is your the debt the crown owes you been paid?"
Yeah.
Yep.
That was so funny. That was so great. How are you feeling about the way they wrapped everything up, Zach? I know that you've been pretty hyped about this season as well. Just like Johnny and I, we've been enjoying it thoroughly. So how do you think they wrapped it up?
I mean, I think they did a really good job. It was very solid. It was, some people are going to say it was predictable, but I mean, Arya killing the Night King predictable. Rhaegal getting shot out of the sky with sniper precision was not predictable. Danny
also
defeating,
not realistic, but
right. Danny totally burning the Iron Fleet with one dragon, no problem. Defeating all the defenses of King's Landing, that wasn't predictable to me, with one dragon. And then her, burning, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of civilians was very unpredictable. So there was plenty of unpredictability in this season as a whole.
Not really. You
so
could
much.
Only. Go. I'm sorry.
Very good. There wasn't a ton of unpredictability, I don't think, in this episode. Bran being king, to me, I was very surprised when Tyrion was doing his talk about, the power of a good story. It's who has the best story. He says, Bran the Broken. I was like, whoa.
I had ruled that out too because he was not Lord of Winterfell.
Right. And going for what you're saying, Zach, is the only way to predict this ending is based off the last episode. I don't know, Duncan, I texted him last night because I was just laying up thinking about it, trying to write scripts for Sirenicide, and I was like, dude, what if they do a Parliament thing? Just sending him messages. What if, I see Jon stabbing Dany. That'd be cool. So
damn it, Johnny, I'm trying to play Dark Souls. We'll talk about this tomorrow. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, so I was really excited that, a couple of those things came through, but it wasn't predictability because if I would have had that conversation with him 2 weeks ago, it would have been completely different.
Totally different.
I wouldn't have imagined John killing Dany, 2 weeks ago because there would have been no reason to do it. So that art you posted that you were talking about earlier, oh, that's really cool. Him bathing his blade in her blood, and
totally different context.
But why would that even happen right now? And then after last week, it's okay, yeah, coming out of the previous episode, it's somewhat not easy, but you could get an idea of how this series will end. There's no way you could have done that at the beginning of this series. So I'm completely with you, Zach. It's been a very unpredictable and my only major complaint about this series, and I'm not alone, unfortunately, it's just the pacing. And what can you do with what little time you have?
Sure.
That's about it. It is very even in this episode, 3 weeks later, just those kind of things.
Oh yeah, I had said to you last night, imagine if it started off with 15 years later or something.
Right, a true epilogue kind of thing. Yeah. Well, on that note, I told Amy that right when he goes, ask me in 10 years, I'm like, watch, the screen's going to go black and go 10 years later.
Yeah.
No, wasn't worth
I
it.
thought we might get a time jump.
Yeah, we got a little one, but not a very big one.
Mm-mm.
Let's see, I'm trying to get some comments up here.
Man, how gnarly was the visual effects when Drogon melted the Iron Throne?
Oh man, that was so cool. He started going all around it first and then just started blasting it. I was like, damn, dude. Yeah, the graphics were
He was
great.
he undid what Balerion, because it said that the Iron Throne was made from the swords of Aegon's fallen enemies, but made with Balerion's Dragonfire. He heated it up enough to bend it and mold it.
Totally.
But you're right. That look of like the edges of it just crumpling over, man. Oh, so epic. And it's really cool too, because it's like if she can't have it, nobody will. Like that's what we were here for. Because
Rosanna.
What does Bran sit on? His wheelchair? I guess that's it, huh?
Yeah, I guess that's his throne, the first wheeling throne. Rosanna Corleone says, "Why didn't anyone say when they were deciding who was going to rule that Jon was the actual heir to the throne?" I guess that would have been a continuation of the wheel that they were trying to break. But it's a valid question, totally.
Because he's going to go north of the wall, find him a wildling redhead, and call it good.
Yeah,
third time's a charm.
I guess some people thinking that none of Varys's birds with the message about Jon got off. I mean, nobody mentioning it. Maybe none of the ravens got off.
Nah, they got off. He was writing them all day. They definitely got off.
I thought so too.
But I guess they can all get behind the idea of starting fresh after the destruction at King's Landing.
Think about receiving that raven if you're like titty sucking Robin Aaron grown up. Imagine that guy made it. That guy made it through Game of Thrones, everybody. That guy.
Oh my God, sweet Robin, the feeble survived.
Anyway, imagine him and like what's his face? Shit, just lost it. Sir, leader of the Knights of the Vale. Man. Anyway.
Yeah,
Royce.
I know who you're talking about. Royce. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. Imagine them getting that raven and saying, "Oh, look. Oh, great. Another Targaryen. Awesome." Like Jon's a true Targaryen. And I mean, it's one of those things that just depending on how the person would have received that message from Varys, like, would they have been super really thrilled, like ready to rise up in that moment, or just like, well, okay, but he's in love with that girl, so they're gonna rule together. They would have been like what the fans were speculating. I think it's really cool that they went with this whole break the wheel thing. That way, I know she's a tyrant or went down a tyrant, but that way her conquest wasn't for nothing. I mean, look at King Robert. He didn't want to rule. Look how that worked.
And it seems like, things are at peace even without Dany having to reign with fire and blood. Like the six kingdoms are united. The North is an ally. Beyond the Wall, the wildlings with Jon they seem cool up there as well. There's going to be like a Pax Westerosi, I think, for a time, for the time being, play on Pax Romana, which was like a famous period of peace in ancient Rome. So I think that
YouTube,
it ended up pretty well.
YouTube, Anthony Chilato says, "Jon's not coming back, right?" I was like, I think that's what that little half smile was when he looked back at the gate. Like,
I think that was Bran's plan too, Bran knew that. It was Princess Sarah says, "I was so worried we wouldn't see Ghost again. They kept showing Jon walking around at the wall, and I was like, where is Ghost?" Finally, we got some good Ghost action, though. Like, good interaction with Jon and seeing them riding together and, I was really happy about that. It was cool seeing Tormund. Is he like Lord Commander of the Night's Watch now or something? He was at Castle Black, right? Was that Castle Black or was that like a different castle? Or
it looked like half a Castle Black that wasn't buried by snow and ice.
Lady Sarah of House Larkham says Dany's outfit was like Darth Maul.
Yeah, it really was.
That's awesome.
A white version of it. Yeah, that's true.
Oh man,
she was bad, but she looked so good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What is this?
So, do y'all remember before the season came out, one of the visual effects guys said something about there was going to be a lot of, I don't know if he said ghost action, but there's going to be a lot of direwolf. Y'all remember there was a story that came out? It was several months before the season started, but. I mean, overall, no Nymeria, no super wolf pack coming in to fight the undead, and Ghost was he rode off with Jorah at the beginning of the Battle of Winterfell, and that's the only
digitally
action
put
he
next
did.
to Jorah.
You got a really cool snarl in
so-
that scene, at least.
I mean, I don't know. The direwolves were not featured in this season. I mean,
Yeah.
at all, really.
Disappointing for sure. Definitely. I wanted ice
Heather-
spiders. I would have taken ice spiders.
Heather Hildebrand says, I think at this point, Westeros has had enough of the Targaryens.
Yeah, I think you could. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Especially after that King's Landing thing. I'm pretty sure it's a name you don't want to bring up anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, God. Yeah, they're done with the Targs at this point for sure. Eber Panda Akoa says, bittersweet seeing Jon in the Night's Watch again. It really was, huh? So crazy.
Yeah. What's up, Eber?
Stancha C. Hall. Yeah, what's up, man? Stancha says, I have been paying attention, and there was a happy ending. Ramsay was wrong. Like one of these faces.
Yeah, there you go. You know.
Yeah, that's pretty mind-blowing, Stancha. At least, I'm happy with the ending. I hope you're happy with the happiness of the ending, too. It wasn't quite as bittersweet as I thought it was going to be. I think they were thinking that, oh, Dany's going to die and it's going to be bittersweet. But after seeing her go mad, it's like nobody's really that upset about it, you know?
Right.
Yep.
Patrick
and that's
Nide says, Jon versus Grey Worm, who wins? What do you guys think? We didn't get our Jon versus Grey Worm showdown that we predicted.
I think if Grey Worm's not in that berserker mode, I think it could be Jon, just because he's got that ability. I think, but I think when in the moment, like right there at the boat, like if he would have jumped off that boat with Jon still being all defeated and confused, Jon would be toast. But like if you set them up from here on out, like a good 3 or 4 months from now, I could, Jon finally getting his bearings back, finding his reasoning for living and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. If you go up against him in that mode he was in the last episode or at
Angel
the
of
beginning
Death
of this
mode.
episode, you're screwed, man.
Totally. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I put my money on Jon.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, a more all-around swordsman. I mean, the Unsullied are trained in what? Short sword, spear, and seems like there's one other thing in the books. But
that's the thing, though. Like, how are you going to even get past the reach of his spear? Like, I'm as big of Jon backer as anybody, but I don't know. Like, you could never get to me if I was holding a spear. You know what I mean? I've held a hockey stick.
The mountain got closer than Oberyn's spear. I mean, it kept him to a distance somewhat, but a more powerful, skilled swordsman can, get inside of a spear, and then the spearman's at a severe disadvantage.
Yeah, true. If they can get inside the spear.
Are they fighting in close quarters like Barristan Selmy and Grey Worm?
Right, that's the thing too.
Grey Worm held his own with that spear in the close quarters.
Even in close quarters, impressive.
And we've seen Jon
do guys.
Yeah,
but we've seen Jon do a pretty good bit of work outside of his sword play too, like his headbutts and his like leg sweeps, and I think he's resourceful enough to I think it'd be an epic battle. I don't think it'd be easy at all.
He killed Stur, the Magnar of Then, with a hammer that was just like chilling, like a blacksmithing hammer. Right?
True, that's
so
right.
He's very resourceful, like you mentioned.
So I think he'd beat him.
Rock climbing, wall climbing skills.
Especially if he's got to defend somebody, yeah. But like if he had to defend somebody, like so say he's charging at him, and if he dies, like in that moment right there, it might have been a good fight. Like say if I kill this dude and that's a wave, but those other Unsullied would have dropped him. But if he's in a situation where he's got to kill Grey Worm to save somebody or go to the next objective, my money's definitely on Jon. That dude with a mission is unstoppable.
Yeah, so is Grey Worm, though. I mean, he's surpassed all the odds. It's a really tough question. I'd be interested to see how Grey Worm ranks in the all-time greatest fighters of the
Well, the good news is the way they ended on their looks, if there were to be some kind of like movie or some kind of
if they run into each other by accident somehow.
They totally set that up, for a fight.
Grey
They're
Worm
not going to shake each other's hands and be like, you know what? Bygones, brother.
Grey Worm's like, fuck that guy.
Dude, a really a really good fight would be Oberyn versus Grey Worm.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I would give Oberyn the edge, though, because he's just so fast. Lord Johnny of House Store says, all the spoilers were wrong, except for Rhaegal getting killed and Mel getting her... And someone getting...
Missandei.
Oh,
Missandei
Missandei, yeah. Missandei getting her head cut off. All other spoilers were wrong. That is great to hear. That's so cool. They probably filmed a bunch of scenes that were fake to throw people off and intentionally leaked the fake footage. I mean, that's what I would have done. Create my own spoilers, like Tyrion, where he's sending one piece of information to Pycelle, another piece of information to Varys and everything, and sees what leaks out where. You control the information flow. That's pretty slick.
Mm-hmm. How awesome was it when Jon was walking into the Red Keep or wherever to go confront Dany? He's walking, and then the snow or ash starts to move, and I was thinking it was crumbling brick.
That was such
but it was Drogon moving. Oh man, that was great.
That was like top 10 series moments. Yeah.
He just curled back up like a cat and let him go.
Right. He's like, oh, it's just Jon. He can smell that Targaryen blood, and like we said, when he, Jon kills his mom, I think that Drogon was just like, couldn't have been him.
Speaking of Drogon, what does Bran want to do with this dragon, man?
I know. Oh, man.
It doesn't seem like he wants to kill it.
So in the books, you get like a little bit of inside info. When Bran is warging into things, like when they're in the tower and the fight with the wildlings is going on outside, and there's a storm, and they're worried that Hodor, because he starts Hodor. They're worried that he's gonna alert the people to their presence, right? The wildlings. So he wargs into Hodor, and we learn that Hodor like fights back. And there's another example in the books. So when you try to warg into, whether it's like a shadow cat or a bear, a snow bear, or a person, like they will fight it. And so Bran, if he were to warg into Drogon, it would be interesting to know how much of a fight Drogon put up. And then if Bran succeeds, whether or not Drogon would be willing to accept Bran as being part of his system and like roll with it. You know what I mean? Like whether or not they would be there would be symbiosis between the two. It'd be an interesting concept.
Sitting up on like a rock, and as a raven like gets near him, he's just like splat. Like, I can't find Drogon. Have y'all seen him? Because I can't get near him.
Yeah, totally.
It's like the Beatles.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. So when he was pulling the rocks off of Jaime and Cersei in that one moment where he starts slamming the rock in anger, I went, smash the Beatles. And then I was like, really? Right now? Really?
That's the perfect time. What are you talking about? Heather Hildebrand says, I needed someone to call Jon Lord Commander. I needed to see Jon get some reward for all this shit he's gone through. The man has died for his cause, fought in every war, and all he gets is sent to the wall as a ranger. I think that he's going to be King Beyond the Wall. I think that was Bran's intention, basically, because he knows Jon is done with structure, and he's going to go do his own thing. I think.
And the only thing the thread that would have held him, he's like, "You can come visit me," and she's like, no, I'm going to go discover new worlds. He's like, okay, I'll just go up north then and do my thing.
Yeah, Arya Columbus. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention Johnny Store points out that Bran, Braun, Pycelle, Martell, Tyrell, all similar names. Bronn is now master of coin. Imagine how much he's looting. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, but you pay off somebody like that with as much as he's got. I mean, he's been poor long enough to probably respect it more than,
True.
Other people.
That's a good point. If he was serious about it, he did seem serious about it. Like he was asking like realistic questions for the position and stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
Who was between Sam and Edmure? Was that like the new Frey, or who was that guy?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think all the Freys are gone.
But enough to be a Frey, and he's in that by the Riverlands. If they were kind of sitting in some sort of order, I don't know. It was
not sure.
I got obviously the guy from Dorne just because of his robe,
his outfit.
But I was like, who's
on the other
dude?
Side of Yara too, there was another guy who I wasn't sure who he was either. There was the Prince of Dorne, Yara, and then this other guy to her right. I couldn't pinpoint him either. We got to see the floppy fish.
Yeah, dude, that was the best comedic relief ever.
Oh my god. Well, my experiences fighting as a veteran of multiple wars has led to some types of skills in statecraft. Sit down. Uncle. He was trying to perfect comedic moment.
Yeah, perfect comedic timing, because the whole audience around the world was yelling the same thing Sansa just said.
He was trying to push himself as a potential king. Like, nobody's taking you seriously, Mr. Floppy Fish. So brutal. Heather also says Sansa's wanted to be queen since season 1, episode 1, and she finally got what she wanted. And Princess Sarah adds, and she never even got to sit on the throne.
No, she didn't. She got to touch it, and that was it.
Well, Daenerys, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. The music during that scene was amazing, Johnny. I'm sure you picked up on that. Zach, you pick up on music too, don't you, Zach? How about that music when Dany was touching the throne? It was so ominous.
It was, I can't remember the music when that scene started, and it was just her. And then I think when Jon came in and then they were face to face, I think their theme from the boat came in, and it was so good.
Yeah, when Jon was walking out
out of darkness, or fading from the darkness, walking up, that's when those notes, I think, started hitting from that theme.
Oh, and then when he was leaving the Red Keep for the final time to sail north as well, he's walking down the stairs feeling guilty for what he did, and it's playing sadly the Jon and Dany theme as he's reflecting on all that he sacrificed to get to that point and how she's gone and everything like that.
How about the theme playing during the Stark Predator montage? Like, where whenever they're all suiting up, like sliding my sword in, doing like all those things to get the Arnold. That music was really good. Like,
I don't remember that exact music. I know the scene you're talking about, though.
I think it was the Stark theme modified or something. Yes. Yeah,
it was like a version of the Stark theme.
Nice,
big, like with voices and strings kind of coming in together. It was really good, really good.
Did y'all notice Sansa's throne? Or chair or whatever it was. It was
in front of the hearth.
It was fairly simple. It was in front of the hearth, but on either post, it was like a square, but it went kind of straight up, and then it was the checkering that makes the wolf's coat in their sigil, and then at the top were wolf's heads.
Awesome.
Really good.
I didn't notice that. I'll check that on the second watch, definitely.
That's badass.
I loved Arya's boat the same way. They followed that checkering up to the Viking-looking wolf head at the top of her
love that
ship,
too,
man.
And Princess Sarah's mentioning the small council scene at the end with all the banter, showing the characters like getting back into their own grooves and like that things are getting back on track and it's kind of business as usual. That was a fun scene. I thought it was amazing. Not only is he's up jumped cutthroat sellsword Bronn, but he's on he's made the most drastic journey of anybody from being nobody, sitting by himself in the tavern outside of Winterfell when Tyrion needs a hand and offering to help. When Catelyn needed a hand to capture Tyrion, and he now is on the small council. It's amazing what a journey he's gone through. I'm glad to see him. Sorry, go ahead.
There's a Latin saying that fortune favors the bold, and he was bold to stand up and say that he would help Lady Catelyn, and then he was bold to stand up at Tyrion's trial by combat at the Eyrie. And I mean, just on and on throughout the story from there on out. He was, he took Cersei up on her deal, to take the crossbow north at the beginning of the season, and he just, kind of played his cards, as best as he could at any given time, and ended up pretty much on top.
Gotta respect him, and I was happy to see him allied with Tyrion again at the end. That was really nice. Tyrion, oh my God! Sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
I was going to say, Eber Ochoa in the chat, it's like, we still don't know what Pod did to those whores, but we know he's got some badass looking armor now.
Dude, so he was is he in the Kingsguard now? She called him Sir Podrick, and he was wearing Kingsguard armor, it looks like. So he's not going to be able to, take any wives? Seems like a waste of... You know,
he could still do what the King's Guard was doing, you know, when
That's
they go
true.
visit Littlefinger's place.
That's true. That's
And
true.
we know that Bronn is going to rebuild the brothels.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyrion will be in on that too.
And we're breaking the will, right? So who's to say, like, being, you know, celibate and all these things is even going to be part of the new
vows.
Night's Watch, part of the new vows.
Good point.
You know, switch that up, because that was corrupting people. I mean,
Definitely.
the Jedi proved that. Anyway,
yeah. Justin Aguirre Anza says Bran, King of the Six Kingdoms, Sansa, Queen in the North, Jon, King Beyond the Wall, with a big smiley face. Yeah, I think that's what they're getting at, is it total full spectrum domination. Yeah, the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, man, it's great.
Oh, man.
And Sarah Larkham points out that Brienne must have knighted Pod now that he's Sir Podrick. Oh, yep. Man, Lady Princess Sarah of House von Daltron mentioning the Reigns of Castamere playing when Tyrion found Jaime and Cersei's body. Oh, and it didn't look like the total collapse that I had thought had occurred there. I thought they were going to just be like buried amidst like a mountain of rubble, but there was a partial collapse.
Stood by the dragon head and they would have been fine.
Yeah, they were just standing slightly in the wrong spot. It sucks, man.
But how do you know what to do in that
shit. Ahmed Adel says a Targaryen, Jon, alone in the world is a terrible thing. Oh, man.
He won't be alone. He'll Icarette 2.0. He'll find her sister.
And he's got Ghost as well, too. Oh, man, that's brutal, though. Now he really is the last Targaryen.
That's right.
Which Aemon thought he was the last Targaryen at the Wall for decades, too, right? So, pretty interesting. Well, actually, no, he knew Daenerys was out there.
God, it was such a good episode, man. I can't imagine like another, I mean, there's a million different ways it could have gone. Like I said, I was imagining Jon getting on that dragon there in that last moment after he burnt the throne. Like, come on, man. Now I'm yours, rightfully.
Yeah,
like, man, he's going to fly off. We're
happening.
not going to have no proof who stabbed Dany, except for, I guess, they'll deduce, wait, Jon's missing, and so is the dragon.
John's like, habeas corpus, you can't arrest me if there's no body. Habeas corpus is like one of the founding principles of
the dragon.
Yeah. That was crazy how he like scooped her up with his big old claw and flew off with her so delicately. That was great.
So good.
Jesse Suhaka says Ghost and Nymeria spinoff. That would be pretty awesome.
Totally.
And Laura J is talking about Tyrion is smart again. All that time I thought he needed to be drunk to function, but it looks like this whole time he was just in love with Daenerys and couldn't do his duty properly because of it. Love is the death of duty. And sometimes, as Tyrion said, duty is the death of love. And we saw that in spectacular fashion as Jon's duty to the realm resulted in the end and the death of his love with Dany as he killed her in cold blood out of duty. That was amazing. I love that. Reversing that trope was so good.
I got a question for you, Duncan and Zach. Like, so we're talking about spinoffs, that kind of thing. I mean, realistically, it'd be kind of hard to do one like with Sansa and those kind of things because it'd be so involved with the other characters. But you could totally do an Arya.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. She's so young as well.
Exactly.
Come back in 10 years.
Settling like an Aborigine kind of freaking like Australia kind of setting or something. I mean, there's so many.
She just trains them all to be ruthless murderers, like faceless killers.
And like finds a semi-civilized place, but like a tyrant is running it and like belittling people, and you could so much you could do. And who's all her crewmen? I wish we would have got a better shot of that.
That's
like
true.
Who's all doing the exploration voyage with her? Because that's so what I want to see.
Good
that's
question.
Badass.
Yeah, who
would have been kind of fun for her to team up with Yara.
Oh, that would have been very interesting. It was interesting to see Yara still loyal to Daenerys after everything too, like the way that that they like
her, man.
Yeah, true. It's true. Yeah, I had forgotten about that.
For all of it going down, she sees it, but she didn't see it go down. So just seeing the aftermath. Oh man, I'm sure the children were already cleared out of the streets by the time she got there. So seeing is believing, and she didn't see nothing but the aftermath of the buildings and that kind of thing, I'm sure. But she loved her. I mean, she chose her in that moment over Euron. That's a heavy weight. But she ended up still saying I for
title.
What was that, Zach?
The episode title I think is The Iron Throne.
Oh, really? We got a title? Makes sense. Damn, that would be
over in my Gliving computer on it.
Gliving?
HBO Go.
You're Gliving? Oh man, what an episode! What a series, man! I feel like I'm just. It's so sad that it's over, but it was.
I'm ready to rewatch the whole thing, man.
Yeah, me too. It was very satisfying to me. The ending. I feel pretty satisfied with it. The thing is, with the past seasons, like season 2 and 3, both covered book 2. You know what I mean? Books previously had like 2 seasons apiece, if necessary. And in this case, we got two books that needed to go down in 2 short seasons. What's it called there, Johnny?
The Iron Throne. He's right.
Iron Throne? Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah,
God,
good job,
that
Zach.
awesome screenshot of her looking over her like Mongol horde mixing with the Nazi minions, like 2 completely different conquesting armies together.
I was so bugged out. Yeah, order and chaos combined. Pretty amazing. But yeah, they two books had to be crammed into 2 shorter than usual seasons in this case. So I feel like while things were rushed, it's just the way it had to be, and they can only include so much of the details that justify the sort of major character decisions and swings, and you just sort of have to accept that that's the direction that things were going, and you sort of have to imagine some filler yourselves to flesh this stuff out a little bit, because they just didn't have the time they needed to make everything happen. Yeah. But I mean, you got to respect what they were able to accomplish with the time that they did have, in my opinion, that they did pretty well.
That time, I guess, to really bring this to the forefront, because you see so many things. This was DB and Weiss's decision to do these seasons this short, because I know that there's been a lot of things I've read where HBO wanted and George R. R. Martin wanted them to continue it longer.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is something that they had to sit down and decide, do we vest the next 4 or 5 more years of our lives into making this like what Michael Keaton said, I don't want to just be known as Batman. And now he's been, the Vulture. He's done like tons of different things. But he could have been like Batman 4 times. The 90s would have been almost over and he would have not, grown. So that be coming from me where everybody's like, are you scared of these guys getting a hold of your Star Wars? I'm like, no, not at all. Come and get it. And they're making movies. So they're going to have to they've got a trilogy. And let's say each movie's 2 hours. So that's 6 hours to 8 hours worth of time they got that they get to pour all into that. These guys' brains alone, like this show, the way they tied it all up, I'm so excited to see what they do with Star Wars. But
yeah,
the reason I bring
a whole
that
new
up,
level of gravity to Star Wars. I'm excited for gravitas.
Yeah, I hope it's an Old Republic series, man, and they do like the houses and all that kind of stuff.
Raw and gritty.
So epic. But
speaking of gravity in space, like the bombs that they drop onto the what's the name of the big ship in the last
I know you're talking about the where they're in the ship, but all those circular bombs drop straight down. They probably had artificial gravity on the ship or whatever, or magnetic things shooting the balls down. Who knows? Yeah, there's no gravity though. It's so funny. Jeremiah Becker says, "I think Podrick is commander of the Gold Cloaks, maybe." And he also mentions, the city guard, city watch. He says in Dany's vision of the throne, the next thing she sees is Khal Drogo and her son. I guess that meant she died and joined them. Damn. So that was like she's there face to face with the throne. She reaches out to touch it, and then she hears Drogo calling and goes out through the door and meets with Drogo. And here she's face to face with the Iron Throne. She touches it. And then she gets killed by Jon and maybe is reunited with Drogo. So it's like, I wonder if we went back and calculated the time between her reaching out to touch the throne and the number of seconds that passed before she meets up with Drogo, if they would line up between her reaching to the throne and then being stabbed by Jon.
That's beautiful though, man. I didn't really, I didn't put that together until that. Johnny Stower says it is the Old Republic series. Man, if you could link where you found that info, I've read a bunch of articles, but I haven't seen anything confirmed by like Kathleen Kennedy or Star Wars or anything like that yet, that's what the subject matter is going to be. So I'd appreciate it if you got some source.
Ahmed Al-Zikra says, Al-Zikra says, I was expecting a scene with some hidden White Walkers opening their eyes at the end of the episode. I think that would have been awesome. Yeah. It would have been cool, but it's like they just got rid of them, you know? So
yeah, exactly.
it wouldn't have made sense yet, but it would have, you know, set up a cool, another repetition of how everything goes in circles.
Yeah, I would have been a little like, well, that's kind of just like horror movie. That's like Danny like standing as like a half dead thing in Valyria looking at the camera or something like that.
Yeah,
like, I'm coming back.
My friend Adam Kruger, who doesn't watch the show but who loves the memes that have been being developed as a result of season 8 and sends them to me constantly. He was like, he doesn't even watch the show. He's like, how would you feel if the episode ended with Eddard Stark waking up tomorrow and it was all a dream? Like, what was that famous show Dallas that ended like that?
Oh, that's what I was thinking about. Lost Dallas. You're right.
And,
Lost is where they're all waiting or whatever.
Yeah, I thought it would have been kind of cool if Eddard Stark wakes up and has had this profound vision of the way that all these events unfold as a result of him not telling Jon who his mother was and him dying before he could do it. And he realizes, I need to tell Jon, and like goes and just tells Jon the first thing he does when he wakes up. That would have been kind of cool.
Wow. That would have been badass. I mean, kind of like just that scene of like age using CG to age Jon like down or give him to shave his beard down and just sitting at the table like right when Robert and all them are laughing and I need to tell you something. Come here.
Yeah.
You're the fucking king of the 7 kingdoms.
But don't look at Robert because he'll kill you.
Yeah. We're going to have to execute this very smartly. Whole new show.
Yeah.
And Sean Bean will still die somehow.
Oh, yeah. Inevitably. I mean, it had to happen, right? Let's see.
I liked it at the end of the Small Council episode. Tyrion goes back to his honeycomb and a jackass.
Oh my God! I almost shat when they cut off the joke again. Yeah. Oh, that was so disappointing. I know. There was some like Reddit commenter or something who came up with the ending for that joke that was actually really good. We posted it, but I can't remember exactly what it was at this moment. It was kind of involved. Pretty excellent, though. I was pretty amazed at how clever and crafty this joke was that this guy came up with.
Anna Ukoleon says, I don't know what Dallas is. I have no idea.
I think that's the name of the show, right? Isn't that it? There was one episode where Peter Griffin, like, doesn't the Simpsons, or sorry, one of those old episodes of The Family Guy ends with like the ending of Dallas where the guy wakes up and goes to the shower and that's the end of the Family Guy episode, that it was all like a cartoon dream or something. Oh man. I thought it was super ballsy when Tyrion quit as Hand of the King as well. That was amazing.
My heart was pounding. I was so scared for Tyrion right then.
I know, me too. Terrified.
Yeah. Amy
tosses
Bolin
it down the street.
On YouTube says Jon the Queenslayer.
Yeah. Hey, Amy. And Sarah Christine, Princess Sarah says, are you planning on doing a live show following the documentary next week, Duncan? Yes, we definitely should do that because they're airing that documentary about filming this season, which sounds really cool. We should definitely all hop on and talk about it. If you guys want to come on, you're more than welcome to. Get Rachel, get Sarah on as well. Have a good old party.
Same time slot or?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. It might be on right now, or it could be on, some other time.
I think it's next week. Sure.
Next week, is it?
Next week, or something like that. I can't remember.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty. I'm looking forward to seeing.
It would be nice. It would be nice if there was some kind of law in Westeros that says you can't do double jeopardy with the Night's Watch. You can't be assigned to the Night's Watch twice.
That would be kind of cool. Although the first time Jon wasn't assigned there, he chose to join it.
Yeah, that's true. It was voluntary.
Yeah. And I guess like you wouldn't new life if you die and then are resurrected, would all previous like charges go away and it's like a new cycle, so it can't be double jeopardy.
Right.
Who knows?
Double jeopardy.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Breaker on YouTube says, I think the guy next to Emir was Hallen Reed.
Oh, I was wondering about that too. That would have been pretty cool.
And then Mira can come be the queen.
Oh yeah, with Bran.
Here's your consolation prize.
Yeah, totally. Let's see, what else we got?
It was Howland Reed, then he should have scolded Bran for doing Mira dirty.
Right, yeah, totally. Doing her real dirty. Not as dirty as Jaime did Brienne, but still pretty dirty.
Yeah.
Not as dirty as Bran did the Seven Kingdoms by knowing all this shit. Sitting around.
Yeah, could have stopped that whole thing, probably. There were some good lines in this episode. Tyrion, when he was talking with Jon, talking about Varys, saying, now Varys' ashes can tell my ashes. See, I told you. I told you so. That was so brutal. Oh, I was not looking forward to seeing Tyrion being executed. I was very nervous about that.
I read something online with Bran that they were saying, because we talked about in the other live stream, like, where did he go when he was in the birds, that if his body would have been killed at that moment, that he would have like transferred into those birds, and that's why he was like, I gotta go now, just in case this like planned.
Maybe.
I don't know how true that would be. I mean, again, but I was just thinking about that when we brought up I don't know.
I don't know either, but if he was able to warg Drogon, then he would be another king with another dragon. So nothing has changed.
Yeah. I noticed that there was that scene where Jon was talking with Tyrion, and he's realizing that this is like the moment of truth, and Tyrion's like, you have to act. You have to make a choice now. You have to do it now. And he goes like straight to Dany and kills her, man. It reminded me of the scene after King Robert dies and Ned is presented with a choice. He has to decide who to back, how to act, whether or not to try to take Joffrey into custody, whether or not to join with Renly and make a move quickly before Cersei can make a move. And whereas Ned chose inaction, Jon broke the cycle basically and chose action and, broke the wheel, you could say, by ending Dany, because it seems like she was just sort of going to continue this cycle, As much as she claimed that she wanted to break the wheel, liberating King's Landing was nothing of this sort,
Princess Sarah says it is next weekend and in the same time slot.
Nice. Thank you, Princess Sarah. Looking forward to that. That is going to be awesome. And Johnny says that he put the link to in our Facebook Messenger group for the Old Republic. I'll send it to you.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh my God. So many good things to talk about. I can't even keep my head straight right now.
Yeah. I'm ready to rewatch. I'm so
I know, right? Oh, the way that Ned was manipulated by Varys when he was in the black cells after being captured, and he's like, "You think I care about my life? Like I'll live and die with honor. Basically, nothing you can do is going to or say is going to change that." But Varys says, "What about your daughters? They're at the whim of Joffrey and Cersei right now. You need to confess in order to save your daughters, basically." And that's what changed Ned's mind and made him confess. There was sort of a similar parallel with Jon talking to Tyrion, and Jon's like, she's our queen, like it's her call to do whatever she wants, basically. And he goes to leave, and Tyrion's like, what about your sisters? Like the same type of thing. Like you're not worried about yourself, but you got to worry about your sisters. Do you think they'll bend the knee? You saw what happened at the Tarleys when they didn't bend the knee. Like Sansa and Arya are toast, basically. And I think that's what really made Jon decide that he needed to take action. You guys agree?
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. I was just looking at it from the simpler perspective of, oh shit, I didn't think about my sisters, but I never, drew that conclusion between, his adoptive dad and his own decisions. That's pretty good. I mean, again, just get back to the last scene ending where the first, like that tree line right out there, where it looks like probably where all those bodies were sprawled out by the White Walkers. I just love, just like you just brought up, the parallels where they just tied so much back to the first season. I mean,
yeah.
I see people like, well, we'll never really know what that circle of body parts around that Umber kid means. Like, what does that mean? It's like, did you want a whole episode where they explain to you like what that circle means? I mean, it's a White Walker's symbol. I mean, what the deeper meaning of it is. I mean, yeah. I mean, what I just feel like they wanted Davos to be like a detective, like, this must mean, I don't get that kind of thing, but I love how at the end of the day it goes back to the body parts in the circle at season 1. Here's the body parts on the wall in season 8. That's the kind of stuff that fucking makes me excited about this show, is how much the show just pays attention to itself to like make
good
the
point.
full circle.
Mm-hmm.
What else is on your mind, Zach? Anything you want to mention?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Pod. His armor looked basically like Brienne's, and he was pushing around the king. So I'm of the opinion that Pod is Kingsguard, not City Watch.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got too.
Just look at the armor.
Yup, the armor. That's what gave it away to me as well. I thought it was fitting that Grey Worm decided to take the Unsullied to Noth to protect Missandei's homeland and her honor, and help bring peace to the people there, protect them from potentially being.
Ever.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet you he'll team up. He'll get back over there to Dario and Aharis and be like, man, we fucked up bad. We should have just stayed here, dude.
Yeah. Dario. Too bad we didn't get to see more Dario. I thought maybe like things were going to be helpless for Dany and he was going to like pop in and kill Jon Snow or something. That would have been wild.
That conversation between them two about that, though. He did what? And they let him, huh? Get back on a boat. Let's go.
Oh, so I'm remembering now the music that was playing when Dany was in the throne room. It was like a really slow version of the main theme song with a woman singing it. Oh, oh. And I was like, oh man, it was so epic with like the ash falling all around her. And it was just like, damn.
That's from the vision. But at the same time, I was like, I know this woman's evil right now, but there's still a piece of me like 7 seasons strong that's like, yes.
I know.
Like she got there, she's in the presence of it. Her victory speech was crazy, but that scene didn't feel like that. She didn't look all twisted, contorting, or anything like that. She was just, I did it. Oh my God, I did it.
Her zeal was a little unnerving, though. Like her wide-eyed. John's like, well, it's your choice and my choice, but what do they? What about their choices? All the other people, they don't get to choose.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Once he walked in, yeah, that ended that. I'm talking about just that space before John comes in.
Oh, okay.
She was like, just this, I did it. Like that, her touching it, just like, I can't believe this is true. And I'm sure in her head, it's like, the visions are real. That was real. What I saw in the House of the Undying, here I am, But she looked semi-innocent in that moment, I guess is what I'm getting at. And then when John walks in, yeah, she's just like, mask back on, screw this. Then they'll die, like that person. Because I'm so good. I'm liberating everybody, liberating little kids of their lives.
Yeah, right. Liberating them of their lives or from their lives. It's brutal.
And she was still talking about, freeing them from the grip of a tyrant. And it's like, open your eyes, get a mirror. Just look.
Yeah.
Go look in a mirror. Any
Can't
mirror.
see the forest through the trees there, Dany.
Yeah.
Sarah Larkham saying Drogon was guarding Dany, but let John go through to kill Dany. like he knew. He was like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
That you were right though, Zach. When he came hulking out of the snow there, that was like one of the coolest moments of the entire series, I think. It was like a Dark Souls moment.
Zach was right about, like, you can't plan that. No one saw that coming, like that's the beauty of this show. I mean, even if it's not a big story point, like those little things like that make this show. Jeremiah Brecker and YouTube saying the same thing. The fantasy genre and TV has been embarrassing until Game of Thrones. I hope we get more high quality fantasy now, like proving like it doesn't Xena warrior princess. It's, to be cheesy soap opera dialogue and things like that, and like low budget effects, that it's worth it.
Ahmed Adel says Drogon definitely didn't know, and Jesse Suhaka seconds that, saying Drogon just wanted to sleep, man. He was just relaxing in the snow.
Oh, it's you. Okay, go ahead,
yeah, you're cool. Go past.
Like when I was watching, remember that time?
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. You're not going to let me pass, Drogon? You've seen me naked, man.
I'm just happy to see it. Looks like, I mean, I've seen a couple disgruntled people when I was sharing some of this stuff, and a few early on in the first chat you launched, but it seemed like they were disappointed. But it looks like the overall consensus of this has been so far pretty
positive.
Pleased. I mean, of course, marketing will be completely different because the internet will just shake the shit out of it. But, you know, I enjoyed it, man, and I think that this has been really cool. The last few after shows we've had have been like a positive space to talk about the show, but not like, I mean, we're not over here like, oh, it doesn't matter as long as, everything they do is correct. Because, I mean, there had been some things like, not seeing Dario and those kind of things get fulfilled that we can be overly critical on. But
right, yeah, we're critical, but we're not overly critical.
Right, exactly. It's I can't, now looking at it that it's done, think of like, what's the alternative, for going from the last episode, I mean, anybody can rewrite from season 3 forward. I mean, we could have Lady Stoneheart and all these things we could do if we wanted to, but writing from the last episode to this, how would you end it? And that's what was aggravating me so much over the past week. It's like, just chill, wait till next Sunday, man. We're going to know, and then when that's done, you can, go through and do all your, from my basement retcons you want, but I think they did a good job.
Yeah, I think they did a great job. I feel like Game of Microphones has been like a little isolated bubble of positivity, or at least, like not too much negativity. Like you're saying, yeah, we'll criticize the show where we see it, making sense to criticize, but we'll also, try to rationalize decisions that they've made so we can, mention that some of these criticisms are unfounded. I think we've done a good job debunking a good number of them. What does that say there, Zach?
When you don't contribute to the group project in school, but you still get an A.
Oh, and it shows, man. Yeah, that's in a nutshell. He's Hodor doing all the work for him, Mira doing all the work for him, everybody doing all the work for him. Where it's like, I'm going to go over there now. And just like wargs away, I'm going to go now. Thanks for dying, Theon.
Man, the other complete positive that I noticed from HBO, without spoiling too much, because a lot of people don't watch trailers and everything, but that trailer for Westworld Season 3 looks amazing. Coming out of Season 2, which I did not care for. Which I know.
Oh, yeah, I heard Season 2 wasn't very good compared to Season 1.
I mean, it's got it's not spoiled, but it's Jesse Pinkman.
Well,
I'm glad you liked it, Zach.
Season 2 was awesome. Season 1 was awesome. Season 3 is going to be awesome.
But they showed Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. Looks like, I guess he's going to be a starring role in the next.
Aaron Paul.
Really? Yeah. I like anybody with Ron Paul in their name.
His name is A.A. Ron Paul.
Yeah.
You done messed up, A.A. Ron.
A.A. Ron. Oh, man. Lord Travis sent me a message. He says, I literally yelled, yes, when Tyrion started saying the mule and the honeycomb and the jackass brothel story. Oh, my God. That was so funny.
That was such a beautiful send-off for all that. I mean, the way the camera faded.
Oh, my God. The slow fade. So that scene when Tyrion... Sorry, go ahead. What was that, Johnny?
I loved him setting the chairs up too before they came in, showing how much pride he takes in like this. Like, this is, I'm the hand of the king. That I can't have them come in and not look right. Because it's like, why are they spending so much time on this? And you start getting into the psychology of it. It's like, okay, I get what they're doing here.
Shows he cares. And it was really sad to see him broken to the point where he didn't want to be handed the king, where like he didn't think he deserved it, when he's like one of the most ideologically pure and deserving of that. And it was sort of like when the past week when he was like, well, Jon doesn't want to be king, and Varys was like, sometimes those who don't want it are the best decisions, like sometimes the best rulers are people who don't want to rule. And it's like Tyrion here. He's like, I've already been hand of the king and queen too many times. Like, I don't want it. And I like the way that Bran said that was his punishment, that you've made a lot of mistakes and you're going to spend the rest of your life fixing them. I thought this was a great penance for Tyrion. Very appropriate.
So who wrote that? Sarah's bringing up the Book of Ice and Fire.
Maester Ebrose.
So that's the parental one, right?
That's like, the one who was the one who believed Sam about the White Walkers, but like it was when they were walking through the library together, and he was handing Sam all these stacks of books, and he was like, "Oh, I'm writing a book about the wars, chronicling the wars that took place after the death of King Robert I, and the following wars between the houses of the kingdoms." And Sam was like, he's like, it's called The Chronicling of the Wars that took place after the death of Robert I. And Sam was like, oh, that's the title? Like, you could come up with something more poetic. So we had speculated that it would be Sam that may like redo that book with Bran's help to get all the inside information for all the point of view chapters, and that it would be like Bran and Sam had written A Song of Ice and Fire, which was like George R. R. Martin's book. But here, it was appropriate, saying that this chronicling of these wars and the factions after Robert's death and the rise of Ice and Fire and Jon and Dany, calling that like the War of the Five Kings and everything, the Song of Ice and Fire. It was cool. I liked them pulling it all together like that. What did you think, Zach, about that?
Yeah, that was fun. And Sam says that he helped Ebrose with the title, from his Ebrose's long drawn out, technical title that he had. But Ebrose, when he was going through the library and stacking book upon book on Sam, he was like, okay, you gotta get your facts straight and be, get the truth of what happened, but you also got to have some poetic sense about how to tell a good story. So it was written by a good storyteller, and it was well put together, and so it was the perfect story.
Totally.
Cliff on YouTube says the Starks finally get a happy ending. Even Jon and his element, at least it looked like he was glad with the ending. Just wanted more. What happened to the Dothraki? You think that were they on the boats? I didn't notice that either.
Yeah, good question. They're just terrorizing Westeros now. Just riding around. That's like the Mongolian horde has been released across Westeros. Stop knocking down my shitty wall, damn Mongolians. I don't know. Good question, man. I'm wondering too. Where are the Dothraki?
They're the new Kingswood Brotherhood that are just going to be menaces to society.
Yeah, totally. Definitely. I can see that. Yeah, I'm really glad. Joanne Abernathy says, I'm so happy to know other people liked this episode. And I'm in agreement. I hope that we learned that this episode had higher ratings than the previous few episodes. I'm really disappointed with the fandom, to be honest. I think that a lot of the criticism has been overly harsh and just ungrateful and unjustified, I mean,
just like being Star Wars, man. They're everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
The Star Wars fandom is the most toxic place ever. Makes Game of Thrones look like a bunch of happy pre-Kers.
It's true.
It really is not. I mean, right now, it's just because the season's out. But like Star Wars toxic fandom is like 24/7.
Right? Yeah, they hate Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson and
prequels and everything.
Yeah, the
but
prequels too. It's so funny. Yeah, I'm hoping that they do some good Star Wars stuff. It'd be awesome. Sarah Larkham says, I knew Dany would have a short reign. That is true.
Yeah.
And Heather Hildebrand says Dothraki were milling about at the docks. So, dude, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I am not sure what the deal is with them. Alicia Stout says, I find it strange that Bran never wanted anything. Yet at the dragon pit, when he's chosen for king, Bran says, "That's why I came all this way." So he changed his mind. Yeah, that was so bizarre.
But then he says, like 5 seconds later, well, if I don't want to be king, I don't want to be king. You have to be hand. So it's like, whoa. You just seem pretty okay with being king to me, buddy.
Maybe he just knew that he had to do it, like it's like his duty type thing. Because, he didn't want to like go north of the wall necessarily either. He just like knew he had to. He's always been sort of transcended his own personal existence. From early on in the story, we had taken note that he was very mature about his decision making. For sure.
You still think they're going to do the 7 gods and all that? Is that going to still be like the religion of the land?
The faith of the 7?
Bran? Yeah, basically be like, well, you can really tell R'hllor did his work here.
He's like, I can tell you for a fact, the old gods are the true gods. I'm connected to the network. They take the religion of the North all across the 7 kingdoms. Who knows?
Or just put it all together and create a new one, I guess.
Yeah, interesting, too, that the Citadel escaped destruction. I've been worried about that for years, that there would be some kind of horrible tragedy at the Citadel. We'd lose all this history and everything. So I'm glad that didn't happen, but I'm also kind of disappointed that that would have been pretty intense to see, like an attack on the Citadel or something, like sections of the library catching on fire. I've been like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Epic.
Yeah.
For sure.
What else is there? I liked Arya had an interesting conversation with Jon where she's reminding Jon that, like, you're not safe. Dany, she knows who you are, who you really are. You'll always be a threat to her. And she closes it out by saying, and I know a killer when I see one. And I was like, that's right, Arya, you do. That was so cool.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much closes out for me, guys, tonight. I got to early in the morning, but I'm ready to watch this again too tomorrow. Freaking go through it again.
You're breaking up a little, Johnny, but
I'm about to close out on my side, but it's been real, man. It's been a hell of a season.
Definitely. You ready to close it out too, Zach?
Yes, sir. I think we got it pretty good.
All right. Yeah, I think I am ready too. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening and joining us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the ending of the series. And I think, at least over here at Game of Microphones, we're pretty pleased with how they managed to pull everything together. So we're thankful for that and thankful for all the hard work that the cast and crew have done over these years to make something so amazing for all of us that's made us so happy for all these years. So we're really thankful about that. Thank you to all the listeners for being part of it and helping us talk through all of this and everything as well.
Being up and chatting with us, man. It's been fun.
We'll have our deep dive out in a couple days too as well. So Rachel and I are going to take notes and do our recording tomorrow. So we'll have that out as soon as possible. And if you guys want to give us a call to send us your thoughts, you can always hit us up, 813-JOFFREY. You can send messages to ravens@gameofmicrophones.com or hit us up on Facebook. Any of these things down there or up there that you want to check out, GameofMicrophones.com. You can send messages from there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gab, Minds, and what's that last one? Twitch at GoMPodcast. BitChute, YouTube, Twitter at Game of Microphones, or no, Tumblr, sorry, at Game of Microphones. If you guys want to support the show and like what we've done and want to show your appreciation with a monetary support, that would be helpful as well. We have a backer right now who's matching donations 3 times. So if you want to donate, that would be the perfect time to do it. We'd appreciate it, and it'll help us stick around as we move forward past the end of Game of Thrones. We're looking forward to covering the books and everything like that. We'll be covering the Fire and Blood maybe first, and then going through the entire book series and doing spin-off series of TV shows and the novellas and everything like that too. It'll be fun to cover Duncan Egg. Looking forward to doing that. It's going to be a really good time. So I think that pretty much wraps everything up. Again, thank you to Lord Zach of House Bruce for joining us today. It's been great having you on these live episodes. Thank you so much for joining us, Zach.
Awesome. You're welcome. Thank you. It's great fun.
Yeah, you are very welcome, and it was definitely lots of fun. And Johnny, been great to having you on throughout the season as well. Appreciate it very much. Thank you so much, Archmaester Stitches, for being with us.
Salute.
Yeah, and make sure to check out Sirenicide, the serialized horror drama podcast, going into its fourth season, starring Johnny Stitches, Archmaester Stitches as Johnny Stitches, and me as the mayor of Morston, Texas, Malik Husto. Thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you in a couple days for the deep dive. Make sure to check us out on YouTube if you're listening to the audio stream of this. Just so you know, everything that we do is video now. So make sure to go to YouTube, check out our deep dives where we bring up on screen what we're talking about, show the comparisons side by side to other movies, like that one, Johnny, that you sent with the Batwing and the Michael Keaton Batman flying up over the moon. Showed it side by side with Danny and John on Drogon and Rhaegal, up and down through the clouds. You're missing out if you're not watching on YouTube. We're doing lots of cool stuff on there. So make sure to check that out. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for being with us here, and we will see you